It's time to go.
It's Friday, so we need to introduce our friend Geraldo.
Author of the Geraldo Show, the book that's out and doing extremely well right now.
That's right. He's at the Hard Rock out there in Cleveland, Ohio. Geraldo, good morning. We want to read you two
the glasses on.
I know it. We want to read you the Hall of Fame, that is to say, Hard Rock Hall of Fame. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The president sent out 2 tweets in the last half hour. First one reads...
Says James Comey is a proven leaker and liar. Virtually everyone in Washington thought he should be fired for the terrible job he did until he was, in fact, fired. He leaked classified information for which he should be prosecuted. He lied to Congress under oath. He is a weak and untruthful slimeball who was, as time has proven, a terrible director of the FBI. His handling of the crooked Hillary Clinton case and the events surrounding it will go down as one of the worst botched jobs of history. It was my great honor to fire James Comey.
It was my honor.
Geraldo.
What's your reaction?
First of all, I apologize for the big delay, just with the remotes and everything. It's a kind of a lag. Excuse me. I understand that the president feels very strongly, passionately, almost a hatred for James Comey. But you mentioned the president fired the FBI director. That's true. But the man who wrote the memo that really led to Comey's demise was none other than Rod Rosenstein, the deputy attorney general who is leading the way in terms of Russiagate and all the rest. So I think it is ironic that the man who is widely being pilloried by people on the right, people who support the president, for unfairly targeting him. And believe me, I am absolutely on board in terms of the feds overstepping and crushing the president's rights. I mean, that raid on Michael Cohen's office the other day was absolutely unnecessary. They didn't try to subpoena those materials prior to going in and busting up and violating the lawyer-client privilege. In terms of Comey and the book and the president's bitter feelings about it, it's obvious that Comey, by going to the Columbia professor, leaking, vital information that was secret information, confidential information, DOJ information to the professor at Columbia and then to the New York Times. He is a leaker. The president is absolutely right about that. Whether or not he's a liar, I think, remains to be seen. We will test his version of the facts when we see them against the historic record. Well, but all I can say is that the president, I've known him forever. I sympathize with him. I understand how frustrated he must be. He's trying so hard to be a great president and make America great again and all the rest of it, the 45th president of the United States, only the 45th man to hold that darn office, and here he is totally distracted by things that, porn stars and payoffs to Playboy playmates and things of that nature that really have nothing to do really with the running of the country, guys.
But Geraldo, a couple of things. I mean, number one, we could look at a serious strike with allies in Syria. The president's got that. He's also looking at maybe re-entering the TPP. He's got major issues going on with this investigation. Could this Comey thing trump it all? Do you think this will be the #1 story?
Oh, I have no doubt that Comey and now that the $30,000 payoff to a doorman about a purported love child that, in all likelihood, like the sordid events in Moscow never happened. But the president is dealing with all this tabloid stuff. Access Hollywood has resurfaced. My goodness. So it's the same old stuff. Access Hollywood again. Billy Bush again. The Playmate again. Stormy Daniels, the porn star again. When indeed, as you suggest, here he is contemplating what is a measured strike against Syria that will do more good than harm. The North Korean negotiations coming up. The TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. I think it's brilliant for the president to reconsider the United States entering into this financial agreement with the countries that rim the Pacific Basin as a counterbalance to China. I don't think anything scares China more than the concept of the United States and all the other Pacific countries allied economically against the Chinese giant. It's just that the president wants a better deal than the one struck by the Obama administration.
Geraldo.
And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's just like NAFTA.
Geraldo, if the president in the UK and France decide...
I'm sorry, Allison.
If the president in France and the UK decide to strike Syria, Don't you think that story would be a bigger story than Comey's book that's released on Tuesday?
Again, I apologize for the delay in stepping on you, Ainsley, but I think that the United States, the United Kingdom, and France certainly have the military wherewithal. Indeed, the United States could do it on its own, strike Syria, strike Assad's resources, military assets, in retaliation for the gas attack, the horrifying gas attack that the president was so righteously revolted by. I mean, we all were seeing those children writhing in their agony, suffocating in their own bodily fluids. It was just horrifying. My fear, though, Ainsley, is that now that it is in cold blood, now that days have passed, now that Russia has said, watch it, or we're going to hit your missiles coming in, one thing or another, I fear that a military strike right now might be not worth the price we will pay in complicating the situation in Syria. I want the president to think long and hard, as I'm sure he is doing, particularly now. He's got Mike Pompeo, he's got John Bolton, he's got some people around him that can advise him. I really do think that sometimes less is more, particularly when it's in cold blood. If we had done it right away, right after the gas strike, it would have been different. I fear that now the consequences might be more complicated than the benefit we might glean.
All right. Go pick up his book, The Geraldo Show. He's on location out in Cleveland. Big book signing today. Geraldo, thanks so much. Great to see you last night and great to see you this morning.